Welcome back to Hartfelt Beer Reviews. Again, we're here with yet another beer review. This is Surly Darkness Rye Barrel Aged, or Rye Whiskey Barrel Aged Darkness by Surly Brewing Company. This is the 2020 vintage, coming in at 12% alcohol by volume. This is Russian Imperial Stout aged in rye whiskey barrels, and a big bomber bottle. It's got some pretty cool artwork on here. Looks to be like a dragon eating something. I've only had the 2017 Surly Darkness. That was the non-barrel aged version. It tasted very similar to Deschutes the Abyss, but I think it had a little bit more of a dark fruit characteristic than the Abyss did. The Abyss being far more bitter and chocolatey and oak, and again, in my opinion, the 2017 Surly Darkness, that was the non-aged version, was a little bit more dark fruit. Things like that. But I'm super excited for this. Picked this up a couple months ago. That it said a little bit. Haven't had a lot of the time. Also, it's kind of daunting to open up a bottle this size at 12% alcohol. That's a massive, massive beer when you're by yourself and no one's going to help you drink it. And I don't know if I'm entirely capable of consuming something this large. But anyway, let's crack it open. It's been setting out for a couple minutes to get it to the optimal temperature for consuming. Let's find out. Cheers. Oh, wow. Big chocolate roasted malt. Get a nice hard pour. I want to see if I can develop any head from this being 12% alcohol. Don't expect much, but I've been wrong before. If it gets to be too much head, I'll kind of back off a little bit. Oh, listen to that sound. That's glorious. Already, maybe about two fingers worth of a nice, almost dark mocha head. A very compact, tight bubble retention. Absolutely opaque as oil. This is just the way I like it. Now, as long as it's not thin, as you know, that's been one of my qualms with these beers. I'm not getting a bottling date on here, but seeing as it's an Imperial Stout aged in a rye whiskey barrel, and it's 12%, I'm not too concerned. The fact that I know that it's a 2020, so it's not too old. Let's go ahead and get the aroma on here. It's odd. It's almost the rye astringency. Rye is far more forward than a bourbon is. Getting chocolate, almost a smokiness to it, which is I didn't expect. Big roasted malt. Barley. Kind of a wet oak vibe to it, maybe some soft caramel. Maybe a tad bit of vanilla. This worries me. I wouldn't say it worries me. I mean, it's not a bad beer by any means. It's just it smells. The aroma is different on this than I've ever smelled of any rye whiskey barrel aged beer. Granted, I've never had a barrel aged darkness before, so you know what? Enough talking. Let's go ahead and dive in. Cheers. Whoa. I was correct about the dark fruit forwardness. Plum, vanilla, almost even a light, I wouldn't say a light, like a black cherry note to it. Tobacco, deep baker's chocolate. I'm getting a big pop of that rye spice from the rye whiskey. And the oak at the front of the mouth, but then it kind of dissipates quickly. It doesn't linger. There's no astringency on the finish, and the mouthfeel of this is perfect. It's not, thin at all, which again really bothers me when stouts of this magnitude are thin. The alcohol percentage, it's for it being 12%. It's warming, but it's not in your face. Excuse me there. It's not in your face. It's not boozy at all. That's at first I thought it was going to be too much rye, but then it really mellowed out quickly. You get that big dark fruit, which I really enjoy. The cherries, the plums, and almost even a light berry. It's very, very, very good. This beer is absolutely delightful. I don't know how anyone could find this. I'm sure you'd have to, at this point, trade for one on the secondary beer market, which, if you've ever done that, that's a hassle in and of itself. Go for equal trade if you're going to trade for this. Don't let somebody fool you into that times 4 bottles for something else. It's not worth that. In my opinion, the only way to trade something, even on the secondary market, is through the retail market value. It really holds no more value than that. I believe I purchased this for between $20 and $30 in between there. I know it wasn't more than $30. I purchased it in Milwaukee at Total Wine & More. Well, like I said, this has been months ago, so I know there's none left. But up front, you get that big, almost astringent in the aroma, but in the flavor profile, you get a big pop of rye, some soft cinnamon, maybe a tad bit of clove, very light maple. Then you're going to get I should say, not a deep, but a lingering vanilla bean kind of note to it. It's not a super sweet, syrupy vanilla-ness. The chocolate is a deep, rich baker's chocolate, through and through all the way. And that just mellows completely with almost a subtle smokiness from the roasted malt. And then that big, through and through dark fruit, which I think really makes this beer. I find this to be far better than Deschutes the Abyss, but that's my opinion. I love, love, love Deschutes the Abyss, but it's almost too bitter with that it's brewed with other ingredients. But again, that's just my opinion. This just toffee, caramel, vanilla, smoke, roasted malt, cherry, plum. It's weird. You almost the faintest hint of it, it's a deep blackberry or a deep black cherry. So blackberry, cherry kind of mix in there. Not too sweet. I want to make that clear. This is not cloyingly sweet by any means. This is not a sweet stout, in my opinion. This is definitely roast heavy and barrel forward, but the barrel is not too forward as it overpowers anything at all. And it finishes, actually, the mouthfeel, like I said, is perfect. It's got a full mouthfeel, and the lingering finish, just that soft, dark fruit, smoke, wet oak, and it's really, really, really enjoyable. This is something that I'm surprised that it's as good as it is. I know a few people that are big into the beer game, and they said that the variants of the darkness this year were not their favorite. Again, me not having any other variants of darkness, I had no way of knowing. But again, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who's reviewing a beer or reviewing anything. It's all subjective, and it's all personal choice and personal taste. But 12% alcohol by volume, completely hidden. This is fantastic, over-the-top Imperial Stout by Surly Brewing Company out of Minnesota. I'm glad that their distribution got over here. I didn't see a whole lot. I think I saw 6 bottles, and this, again, has been months ago. I don't know the allocation on this beer. I don't know how far-stretching their distribution is, but this is a wonderfully balanced, pleasant, barrel forward, smooth, very complex and unique Imperial Stout. And I highly suggest anyone out there that's into these big barrel-aged stouts, find it, trade for it, share it with a friend, which is ideal. I would like to have Jonathan Troville here, which is my partner on this channel, to drink some of this because I know he would love it. And there are a couple other acquaintances that I've met through the beer reviewing that would really enjoy this. But here's to you. Here's to everyone else stuck in the quarantine. Surly Rye Barrel Aged Darkness, 12% alcohol. This has been another Hartfelt beer review. I hope you've enjoyed. Cheers.